Have you ever considered that maybe behind the familiar facades of our big cities, there might be, I don't know, hidden layers, maybe ancient warnings, or even forces that just don't fit conventional explanations?
It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? That the everyday places we know could actually be sites of something, well, something extraordinary and unseen.
Absolutely. And today, we are really diving deep into an extraordinary, almost unbelievable narrative. It's all centered on San Francisco.
hmm
And the sources we're looking at, they present a reality that's wildly different from what, the official channels report. It kind of invites us to look a bit closer.
It really does. We've been going through some truly unique material. Things like intriguing audio recordings, eyewitness accounts, stuff that directly challenges the standard explanations for certain events in the Bay Area.
So our goal here is to really pull out the core claims, the most surprising sort of nuggets from this perspective.
Right. Think of it as a shortcut for you, the listener, to get a handle on this highly unusual story that people seem to be buzzing about.
And look, we get it. These claims are incredible, maybe even mind-bending. Our role here isn't to endorse them, but just to present the information impartially, exactly as it appears in the sources we have.
So you can weigh it all for yourself.
Exactly. So let's unpack this narrative.
Okay.
So the story really kicks off by pinpointing this alleged location of what our sources are calling an alien portal.
hmm
They say it's precisely where the San Andreas Fault meets the Pacific Ocean, right near the San Francisco-San Mateo border.
And what's really fascinating there is the lore, the deep-rooted stories around that exact spot.
Oh, yeah.
Native American elders apparently warned people, don't go there. They claimed you'd get trapped in the portal between worlds.
Wow. Trapped between worlds. That sets a tone.
It really does. It frames the whole location with this sense of deep ancient mystery right from the start.
Okay, so fast forward, or rather, the source material jumps to April 2017. It details this initial kind of bizarre incident.
Right.
A driver, apparently just about a mile east of this supposed portal location, near John Daly Boulevard and Highway 1,
Okay.
claimed they crashed their car because they saw, and I quote, alien creatures out of this world.
Alien creatures. And what happened to the driver?
Well, the immediate aftermath. Taken straight to a mental institution.
Right. In that quick dismissal.
Mm.
It's something you see a lot in these alternative narratives, isn't it?
It is. It raises that question about how unusual sightings get managed or maybe even suppressed.
Mm.
And then adding another twist, the source claims some Crown 4 reporter footage surfaced.
Message.
Yeah. Apparently the reporter sent the file just before their camper was taken by Man in Black as car accident evidence.
Men in Black. Okay, so that detail definitely leans into classic conspiracy territory.
It really does. Now, here's where the narrative gets, well, significantly more complex and frankly pretty audacious.
Uh-huh.
The source material claims San Francisco isn't just about tech anymore. It's a nexus of incredible wealth.
We know about the well, sure.
Right, but get this. Out of 500 U.S. billionaires, 60 apparently live right there in SF.
60. Wow.
And supposedly, they possess more wealth than 4 billion poorer humans combined.
That concentration of wealth is just staggering in itself. But where does the source take that?
It takes a huge leap. It alleges that several of these billionaires made a secret pact,
A pact. About what?
investing billions of dollars starting back in 2006 with one single shocking goal: to reopen the portal and allow an alien force inside the city.
Billions. To open a portal for aliens. Okay, that definitely taps into that theme of hidden, powerful groups pulling strings behind the scenes.
It's a massive claim, and as a sort of symbolic gesture to start things off, these giant bronze gates, called the Augustus Road Gates of Hell, were reportedly installed at Stanford.
Gates of Hell at Stanford.
Yeah.
How far is that from the supposed portal?
About 10 miles, according to the source. So not right there, but close enough to be symbolic, I guess.
Right, so the suggestion is this was a deliberate long-term plan, starting with this big symbolic act.
Seems like it. And the immediate consequence, according to the source, the city was suddenly overrun with weird people who look like they came from the different time realm.
People from a different time realm. That implies a pretty fundamental shift in the city's reality itself. Like the fabric of existence was being messed with.
Exactly. And the method they supposedly used to finish opening the portal, it sounds like something out of sci-fi.
How so?
It supposedly took 11 years. With Illuminati help, there's that term again, referring to some secret elite, using multiple ultraviolet lasers projected in a specific spot on the sky to burn the hole in the time-space continuum.
Ultraviolet lasers burning a hole in space-time. Okay, so the narrative is weaving together ancient myths, massive wealth, secret societies, and this almost sci-fi tech.
Pretty much. And it all culminates, supposedly, in April 2017. The finished work is revealed. A portal opened in Silicon Valley.
Did they describe it?
Very specifically, 3 meters high, though another part says 5 kilometers, so there's a discrepancy there, creating a hole in the sky, 12 meters wide, or maybe 20 kilometers. Again, specifics vary slightly in the source.
Okay. But a very specific, almost architectural description for something so otherworldly.
Definitely. Now picture this. The day this portal supposedly opened, people in the Bay Area were stunned. They saw two sunsets.
Two sunsets. How does that work?
One from the west, the normal one, but another apparently from the east.
Okay. What was the official explanation for that?
National news companies apparently said it was sun refraction, an optical illusion caused by the Pacific and the Bay.
Sounds plausible, I suppose, but the source disagrees.
Strongly. It claims the portal in the east, this second sunset, was so much brighter than the actual sunset that it temporarily blinded people looking at the sky.
Blinded people? That's intense.
And apparently it wasn't just a local glow. It was so bright that residents way out in the Sierra Nevada mountains started calling firefighters.
Why?
They thought the forest was on fire.
Wow. Okay, if people miles away thought the forest was burning, that's hard to square with just simple sun refraction, isn't it?
It really is. That intensity, that reach, it's just something else.
So what happened next, according to this narrative?
The very next day, things apparently got even more dramatic. The source claims the entire Pacific Ocean shifted away from the shore.
The ocean shifted away, like pulled back.
That's the claim. And then EUOs, which we assume means extraterrestrial unidentified objects, filled the sky.
Okay, so receding ocean and skies full of EUOs. And was there anything else?
Yes, a physical sensation in the city itself. People felt lighter, like a strong wind was sucking you upward.
Tucking them upward.
Yeah. And this wind, or whatever it was, supposedly dispersed all the heavy clouds over the Bay Area. All of them. Except one.
Just one cloud left.
Just one. It's an incredibly vivid sequence of events they're describing.
Okay, so this lone cloud, what was special about it?
Well, multiple news outlets apparently showed pictures of an oval cloud over Golden Gate Bridge. Pretty standard image, maybe.
Right.
But the source claims the news failed to mention that it was not a cloud at all.
What was it then?
Multiple geometrically perfect EUO disks entering city skies.
Ah, okay. So the source is directly reframing what was officially reported, taking a common visual and giving it an extraordinary explanation.
Exactly. And there's this really peculiar detail. One of these oval clouds supposedly strangely disassembled itself into 3 perfectly oval disks.
It resembled itself.
Yeah. And the source asks, pretty pointedly, what are the chances that was done solely by wind?
Directly challenging the natural explanation. That's a key tactic in these narratives.
And it gets even bigger. Apparently, millions of smaller oval disks then filled San Francisco Bay and a lot of the Pacific Ocean.
Millions. What did the news say about that?
Local news reported they came from a Chinese cargo ship, that it spilled a container of steroplates near the Golden Gate.
Styrofoam plates. Millions of them?
Well, the source says steroplates, maybe styrofoam, maybe something else misspelled. But here's the kicker. The source argues none of millions these swimming strewn plates was found on the shore.
Not a single one washed up. Out of millions.
That's the claim. If true, that discrepancy really undermines the official story, doesn't it?
It certainly makes you wonder. These narratives often thrive on those perceived inconsistencies.
And the sightings kept coming. A UFO spotted by hundreds over the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge.
Hundreds of witnesses. What was that explained as?
Officials called it a prank. A giant, elongated silver balloon.
A balloon.
But the source says several witnesses strongly disagree.
And were there others?
Yeah, another report described a cigar-shaped UFO, flashing lights, hovering near the 49ers stadium. That generated a lot of reports.
Okay, so a whole cluster of sightings, different shapes, different locations, lots of witnesses, all around the same time. The source is really emphasizing the sheer volume here.
Definitely. And to try and make sense of it, the source brings in an expert, a UFO expert, Paul Roberts, who runs something called Hegel Paranormal Intelligence.
Okay, an expert's take. What did he say?
Well, what's interesting is his observation. He says UFOs are usually attracted to military nuclear bases or gold.
Right. Those are common hotspot theories.
But San Francisco doesn't really fit that profile, does it? So for him, this cluster of sightings is abnormal. He's trying to find a pattern, but it doesn't fit.
So it makes him question the motive.
Exactly. He's quoted saying, either there's something here in Sacramento that they're interested in that we don't know about, or they're here for another purpose.
A purpose he admits he wouldn't know.
Right. It just leaves that question hanging there, adding to the mystery.
Okay, so beyond the UFOs, what else does the source describe?
It moves on to these non-material ghost-like substances materializing in nearby parks and forests.
Ghostly substances.
Yeah, filmed by residents and tourists, apparently. Presented as more evidence of things crossing over into our reality.
And the official explanation for that? Let me guess. Something mundane.
You got it. Fire retardant mysteriously escaping from the ground.
Fire retardant.
The source obviously finds that pretty dubious, again, positioning the official story as just not cutting it.
And this highlights a key point the source keeps making,
Yeah.
right? About what's not being reported or how it's being framed.
Precisely. It points out the news outlets failed to mention the oval clouds were supposedly disks, and that there were no words in the news at all about multiple EUO that were filling San Francisco sky. The emphasis is always on the alleged omissions.
So what was the media's response eventually?
Well, after all these controversial reports about oval clouds, the news networks apparently put out a statement
Saying what?
saying they'd refrain from any further comments regarding recently reported multiple paranormal activities till the full and thorough investigation is complete.
Ah, they wait for the investigation line.
Exactly. And they cited sources claiming the whole thing was an extremely elaborated and expensive hoax perpetuated by one or several of San Francisco billionaires.
Back to the billionaires again. So, a hoax.
But the source fires right back at that. It asks, basically, really, San Francisco billionaires have nothing better to do with their money than create weird sky and ground effects all over the place? I don't think so.
A direct rebuttal.
And then a very strong personal claim. In fact, I know that Portal exists and all these EUOs are coming from it because I saw it with my own eyes and camera.
Wow. A direct eyewitness claim from the source provider themselves. That's a powerful counter.
It is. And to cap it all off, these weird skylights display over South San Francisco mountains apparently became known locally as the Nights of UFOs.
Nights of UFOs.
Okay.
So the source clearly believes every single one of these events is connected, part of a bigger picture.
Definitely seems that way. Now, as these phenomena supposedly continued, people in the Bay Area reportedly found a new way to detect incoming EUOs.
Oh yeah, how?
A foolproof method, apparently used before by people in Nevada.
Watching birds.
Watching birds, how would that work? Apparently, flocks would just sporadically take off and moving chaotically with loud screams, minutes to seconds before EUO would appear in the sky.
So the idea is animals have some kind of sixth sense for this. Their panic is an early warning.
Exactly. Distinguishing between normal aircraft and something that causes genuine panic and anxiety in bird flock, it hints at something instinctual reacting to something truly alien.
That's fascinating, using animal behavior as a detector.
But then San Francisco apparently introduced a new twist.
Uh-oh, what now?
New foresters' birds, known as snowy-legged, start to speak language that resembles foreign human language that birds watchers never heard before.
Wait, birds started talking in a foreign human language.
That's the claim. Birds speaking a language nobody recognized. That's a truly bizarre escalation, isn't it? Sounds like something out of a fantasy story.
It really does. It signals a shift from just seeing things to direct, inexplicable communication, like a deeper influence.
And the escalation didn't stop there. Very sinister things reportedly started materializing.
Sinister.
First, strange birds began appearing, becoming more and more dragon-like and out of this world.
Dragon-like birds. Okay.
And then land creatures began to appear, causing chaos in the city. A few supposedly even caught on major news network cameras.
Land creatures causing chaos.
Yeah.
It really paints a picture of an invasion almost, or like the local ecosystem is being actively terraformed.
That's a good way to put it. Actively transformed.
Yeah.
And then the source shares this extraordinary claim from a woman they spoke to.
Okay.
She told the speaker that connecting ley lines, the supposed invisible energy lines,
Right, I've heard of those.
connecting the ones in San Francisco and Santa Clara counties to a specific point in the sky would open the portal and create chaos in the city.
So using Earth's energy lines to open the portal. And did you say anything else?
Oh, yeah. A chilling prophecy.
prophecy.
The second portal will be opened, employing the artifact that Moses used to part the sea, and the city will be terraformed by the year's end.
Moses' staff, the one used to part the Red Sea, they're bringing that into it.
Apparently so. Invoking this ancient, powerful, biblical artifact It takes the whole narrative into this realm of prophecy and, well, total transformation.
Wow, not just opening a portal, but completely reshaping the city
Yeah.
using something like Moses' staff.
Mm.
That's huge.
And there's a personal angle, too. The speaker says this woman gave them a device to play for just 5 minutes.
A device. What did it do?
The speaker describes the feeling as like feeling God's power coming out of it and the sound. It was like the ocean part.
With the ocean parting, a direct link back to the Moses artifact prophecy.
Exactly. It's this incredibly potent personal claim that seems to tie the ancient, the prophetic, and the modern tech all together.
What an absolutely incredible journey we've just taken through this source material. I mean, it paints a picture of San Francisco that's just so far removed from conventional reality.
Right. A city at the epicenter of alleged alien portals, billionaire conspiracies, weird creatures, even biblical prophecies. It's
Yeah.
a lot.
It really is. It's a narrative that just forces you to consider these completely alternative interpretations of events, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Challenging everything from science to news reports.
It really asks you to look beyond the obvious, to consider hidden agendas, maybe.
Hmm.
And that's exactly what this deep dive was designed to help you do. We've tried to pull out the core claims, those surprising nuggets, the direct counter-arguments.
Just to give you, the listener, a unique lens,
Mhm.
a way to view these reported events and maybe think about power dynamics differently.
It's really about being informed, isn't it? Even when the information itself is, well, extraordinary and
Right.
really pushes the boundaries of belief.
Absolutely.
So what does this all mean for you listening? I mean, if you take these accounts, even just as reported within this specific source material, what does it imply about hidden influences? About the very fabric of reality, maybe?
And how do we, as individuals trying to stay informed, navigate a world where what we're officially told and what some people claim to see
Mm-hmm.
are just so radically different?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot to mull over.